you look today at the gross domestic product of the United States of America, 25% of the GDP of the country is in an estate que se llama California.
Right.
25%. Then you look at the second largest state, and it's not in Pennsylvania. It's not in Virginia. It's in a state called Texas, right? Which is part of that old kind of Mexico border in the historical sense. So you have California, you have Texas, then you have some other states, Arizona, Nuevo Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, that are now high growth parts of our economy where there's much GDP. And you go over a little bit further east into Florida, and again, you have another state that is one of the top 3 GDP size states in America, I should say. And so now we're at a point now where things are getting redefined. And that's what I started back when I started talking about the new mainstream economy.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States of America, which every American should be concerned about, how are we going to grow today and tomorrow, not only for my well-being, but for my children and my children's children. And how do we sustain this economy that we built that's so powerful? We have to look for the strengths and double down on the strengths. And then we have to deal with some of the weaknesses. And the one strength that we have in our economy today that makes the United States of America unique is this cohort called the US Latino cohort. Because we've gathered the data. And we know that historically around the world, the older economies get older, their population gets older, and the dynamics of an economy start fading.
Right.
So part of the reason is because they get older. They don't remain youthful.
Mm-hmm.
And so you look at Japan, who's had 2 decades now of stagnation, stagflation, because they didn't allow immigration. They were homogenous, same people,
Right.
and now they got old. And now they've been stagnant. So now they're starting to say, oh, we should be immigrating people, we should be letting people, young people come, etc. What was unique, and same with Europe. Go to Italy, go to France, go to all the countries there. And they didn't accept immigrants very well, and they didn't think about remaining youthful. And the one country in the world that's an older economy that thought about that was the United States of America, thanks to, in particular, one gentleman by the name of Ronald Reagan. Now, over time, we've always had people migrate cross-border, right? And Mexico was the biggest border stretch of any country. And it was a population of people that tended to have much lower income, and therefore they wanted to come to the United States to work, to make a better life, to pursue the American dream, just like anybody that came from the UK or Italy or France or whatever, Ireland, wherever they might have come from. And the difference about the Latinos is that they came here to work, not to just sit back and enjoy. They came here to pursue the American dream, and they came with values of family, values of faith, values of patriotism, values of what we then began calling the Puritan work ethic, right? You're here to work. You're not here to go sit on the government dole. And they came here to be entrepreneurs, because not every Latino came here to just go work for somebody else. Many came here to start their own businesses. And today in the new mainstream economy, 80% of all net new companies created in the United States in the last decade plus have been by Latinos and Latinas,
right,
who are now fueling that growth in our GDP. So today, the GDP of the Latino cohort reached $2.6 trillion as of the end of 2018. which made it the 8th largest economy in the world. But I need to footnote that and say, but very soon, within the next few years, they will pass France, they will pass the UK, and maybe pass India, and soon become, within the next 5 years, perhaps the 6th or 5th largest economy in the world, right here inside our borders. And the reason why is because these Latinos came and they were highly productive. They were entrepreneurial. The work ethic was the highest of all cohorts in America. And they're youthful. So 2/3 of all Latinos in the country today are native born, and their average age is 19. So when you think about lifetime value of a customer, of a business, of a whatever, the younger they are, the longer lifespan they have to grow. And that's where Latinos are today. They're growing incomes faster than the rest of the population. They're growing consumption faster than the rest of the population. They're growing businesses faster than the rest of the population. And they're now educating, getting educated. The children are getting educated. They're getting their high school degrees. The matriculation rate onto college is the highest for Latinos of all cohorts. So we have a star, a shining star right here in the middle of our country called the Latino cohort. And it's a story that I felt I needed to tell because I'm a business person. Not because my name is Trujillo, but because I have a pride that this is my country and I want my country to grow well for another 500 years. And the one thing I know as a business person is that you always have to value the attributes that can create more growth for you, and you invest to catalyze them, you appreciate them, you value them, you do all kinds of things to promote even more growth from that cohort. And that's what I talk about when you hear me talk about the new mainstream economy. When you hear me talk about Latitude, where we created an event where everybody in the country and in the world now can see the importance of the Latino cohort for the whole economy. And the good news is that in the United States of America, the country cannot grow without the Latino cohort. And so what I like to say in a statistical sense is that if you did a regression analysis, the R squared between the success of the Latino and the success of our country is inextricably aligned. And this country cannot grow without the Latino cohort. So now we need to understand it. We need to value it. We need to do all kinds of things to hire people, put people on boards, people in senior management, and invest capital into those businesses that they're creating.